bottles are extraordinary, not only by the rarity, but also by their content and by the depth of the vintages. I think the Provenance has been said by Sotheby's to be some of the finest that they've ever seen at auction, and also rare. In 2016, my son Frederick, he was diagnosed with what was considered to be a rare disease called PolG, which is a mitochondrial disease. We had about 11 surgeries that he had over the next few years. We spent a significant time in hospital. When Frederick was more stable, thanks to the extraordinary medical community, we were able to pull out our head and say, okay, we are where we are. And with Frederick's not only support, but with his drive and his desire to be not only relevant, but engaged with this community, he wanted to be able to make a difference. And we thought, well, we've gathered a virtual community. We've gathered an amazing amount of information and create the PolG Foundation with a specific mission and purpose to find therapies and a cure for this devastating disease, PolG. The Sotheby's sale that we're undertaking now is an amazing vehicle to be able to address these issues by, first of all, raising awareness for this particular mitochondrial disease, PolG, but also raising funds as we start our development for our foundation and our fundraising. The wine community, I think, by its very nature, is a very generous community. The kind of people that are drawn to producing wine tend to be the kind of people that like to share. You don't produce a wine to sit in the corner and drink it by yourself. And by opening up my cellar and ultimately sharing it, I think it was a very natural way for my children, my wife and I, to be able to raise awareness and funds for the PolG Foundation. What we didn't necessarily reckon on is how much support we would also get from the wine community that is close to us. First and foremost, my family, then other families that surround us, the organization Primum Familia Vini, which represents 12 families that are wine-producing families that all very generously provided lots for our sale, and then some other very generous wine donors out there in Bordeaux and elsewhere that have given literally unique bottles, and these are also very rare bottles that have never left their cellars. But I started with a very personal element, which was my cellar. These bottles that we're selling are, of course, witnesses of time. These bottles have really never left the cellars in Bordeaux and have been there for over a century and have been coddled, if you will, by my family, cared for by cellar masters for all of those years. So not only is the sale unique by its mission, but the sale is unique by its content. Frederick, I think, has always been particularly creative from the earliest days. His desire is always to be able to be helpful, to be able to have a purpose, to be able to help others that are in a similar situation than he is. So he has focused his energy specifically on creativity. He's now put together a skater clothing brand called Mito, which is going to be also helping to raise awareness and funds for the foundation. He's having a lot of fun with that. It may not need to be said, but all the funds that we would have received from the sale are going 100% to our foundation. It's very exciting. If I were there at Sotheby's, I would be bidding myself. Anyone who's buying one of those bottles not only are going to have extraordinary fun and pleasure of discovering unique wines, but will also know that with every sip we'll be sharing a piece of history, but also helping an extraordinary cause, which is that of mitochondrial research and finding a cure for PolG.